Hi everyone, welcome back. If you hear something in the background, I do want to apologize. It is storming right now, so the audio may not be amazing. Most places in the world, with the major exception of the US, do use the metric system. So you will see it being used in medicines, when you're scuba diving, when they're weighing babies, when you're measuring liters for beverages. It is used for almost everything for the majority of the world. This map here shows the places in black that do not currently use the metric system. You'll see that the United States is your big major exception to the rule. The metric system is based on a base unit that corresponds to a certain type of measurement. For example, if you wanted to measure length, you would use the meter. If you wanted to measure volume, you would use the liter. Or if you wanted to measure weight or mass, you would use a gram. Then we add prefixes to the base to make up the metric system. For example, the prefix centi plus the base meter make centimeters. The prefix kilo plus the base liter make kiloliters. We have a mnemonic device here, and mnemonic devices are things that you can use to help you remember your units in order from largest to smallest. We have King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, and that helps you remember kilo, hecto, deca, your base unit, deci, centi, and milli. If you need to measure length, you choose meter as your base unit. So the length of a tree branch here is 1.5 meters. The length of a room would be measured as about 5 meters, and the length of a ball of twine stretches out to about 25 meters. But what if you needed to measure a longer distance, like from your house to the school? Let's say you live approximately 10 miles from the school. 10 miles is equivalent to 16,093 meters, and that is a really big number. But if you could add a prefix onto the base and make it easier to manage, you can turn 16,093 meters into 16.093 kilometers, or 16.1 if it's rounded to the first decimal place. Kilo stands for 1,000. So a kilometer is 1,000 meters. So if you have 16,000 meters, you have 16 kilometers. Every prefix in the metric system, or every step, they're all based on powers of 10. So what does that mean? It means every time you move a step, you are either getting 10 times larger than the previous step or 10 times smaller. For example, centimeters are 10 times larger than millimeters. If you look down on the bottom here on the scale, you have centi right before milli, to the left of milli. If you're reading it from left to right, kilo, hecto, deca, base unit, deci, centi, milli. 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. For each step to the right, you're multiplying by 10. For example, let's go for base unit 2 centi. So if you're going from the base unit to centimeters, you are going to start right here, and then you're going to move 2 steps to the right. That is going to show you how you move your decimal place. So if you start off with 1 liter, which is your base liter right here, then that equals 100 centiliters. You move the decimal place 2 spots to the right, like you did when you jumped on the ladder, and you'll add zeros in those spots. So if you start with 1, your decimal place is right at the end of the whole number. If you move that 2 spaces to the right, 1, 2, and then fill in with zeros. Sorry for my handwriting with this. Then you have 100 centiliters. This ladder method will help you move or convert from any type of unit, changing any type of prefix. We'll do a few more examples. So an easy way to move within the metric system is by moving the decimal place point one place for each step desired. If changing meters to centimeters is going to be the exact same as what we just did with liters to centiliters. 2 steps to the right. Now we're going to try our previous example from meters to kilometers. 16,093 meters. And so we're starting right here at the meters. And we want to go to kilometers. So we are moving 1, 2, 3 steps to the left to get to the kilo. So if you take your decimal place and you have it at the end of the 3, 16,093 meters, and move it 1, 2, 3 spots to the left, you're going to put it right after the 16 here. So 16 decimal place 093, and you have converted it successfully into kilometers, which is shown below. If you move left in the diagram, you're going to move your decimal place to the left. If you move right in the diagram, you're going to move your decimal place to the right. You have centimeters way over here, and you're going to kilometers. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places to the left. So if you take your 400,000 centimeters and move your decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the left, you're going to put that decimal right after the 4, and it becomes 4 kilometers. So in your notes, I want you to think of 2 reasons why scientists would prefer to use the metric system instead of the English system of measurement. And on your own, you can attempt to do these conversions. Meters being converted to kilometers, and kilometers being converted back into meters. And here, just for the last few slides, we have the difference between Celsius and Fahrenheit when you are taking your temperature. In the US, we do temperature measurements mostly in Fahrenheit, whereas with the metric units, and most places around the world, they measure in Celsius. The Celsius scale starts with 0 degrees is freezing, and 100 degrees is boiling. It's very rounded, very easy to understand. If you're at 0, you're freezing. If you're at 100, you're boiling. Fahrenheit has 32 degrees as its freezing point and 212 for its boiling point. Your body temperature in Fahrenheit, and I'm sure you've heard this before, is 98.6 degrees. That is your average body temperature when you're healthy. If it's much higher than that, then you have a fever. Feeling well. In Celsius, that's equivalent to about 37 degrees. If you wanted to convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, or the other way around, the equations for that are listed on this slide. To get Celsius, you would take Fahrenheit minus 32 and multiply that by 5/9. Or for Fahrenheit, you would take the Celsius times 9/5 plus 32. However, I would have you focus mostly on the main equivalencies and differences, that boiling is 100 degrees in Celsius versus 212 in Fahrenheit. Freezing is 0 degrees in Celsius versus 32 degrees in Fahrenheit. And you are not going to be required to memorize the conversion for Celsius to Fahrenheit or vice versa. This picture right here is your ladder method. Kilo, hecto, deca, base unit, deci, centi, milli. I would go ahead and memorize this Again, the mnemonic device for it is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. This will help you convert any metric units to any other type of metric units as long as the base is the same. Determine your starting point is your first step. Count the jumps to your ending point and move the decimal the same number of jumps in the same direction. So if you were going to take 4 kilometers and turn it into meters, kilometers is your starting point, so you would start at kilo, and you would have to jump 3 steps to the right to get to meters. So you would take the decimal at the end of 4, move it 3 spaces to the right, and fill in with zeros, and that would make your meters 4,000. On this last page, I would take some of the blank space you have in your workbook and take some time and work on converting these units and see if you feel comfortable doing that. At the bottom, you have a comparison using a less than, greater than, or equal to sign. I highly recommend converting one of the 2 units to be the same as the other, and then saying which one is larger or smaller using the less than, greater than, or equal to sign. I'll see you in class.